I do this thing sometimes when I'm making over a room where I come up with this grand, elaborate plan for everything that it could be if I only had unlimited time and budget. And since I don't have those things, I end up putting off the makeover, thinking that I may as well wait to start it until I can afford to do everything that I want to do in there. This is what's currently happening in my bedroom. And I've come to terms with the fact that this is delusional. I mean, it could be a whole year before I win the lottery. So I decided that I would challenge myself to finish this bedroom makeover without buying anything new. And I almost did it. I spent $1. I think it was well worth it. You'll have to tell me whether or not you agree. But regardless, that's what this video is all about. I talk through the process that I took to sort of rethink the things I already had to make my space feel new and refreshed. I do some DIY, I do some shopping my house, I do some rearranging, redecorating, all this fun stuff. And I've convinced myself through this process, I hope I convince you too, by the end of this, that there's a lot of potential to make your space feel new, hidden in the things that you probably already have. Okay, so here's walking into my bedroom. What you see, this weird corner and that weird corner. And then this space is a space I'm actually happy with that I redid. So I finished the bed and like hung some nice curtains and I'm happy with that. But everything else looks like I just kind of moved in. There's like this empty shelf with a mirror in front of it, this big ass chair that I don't sit in, this dresser that just collects stuff, and the vibes are all off in here. I've struggled with this space because I just don't, there's like not an obvious thing to do with it. So my grand plan would be to move this wall out to this corner. So I have a clean corner here. I have a much bigger closet that I would turn into like a dressing room, and I'd get rid of this kind of dead space. But yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. So in the meantime, I want to make this space work for me a little better. I started out by clearing out the spaces I wanted to work on in here, so I had kind of a clean slate and could move things around easily. My goal here is to be left with all the big items and decor that I think I might use in this makeover and to move everything else out of the space. And this chair was one of the first things to go. It was free and I thought I'd give it a try in this corner, but I found that I just don't use it. It's really big, which is part of why I thought I wanted it here, honestly. My logic being that the only way I'd sit in a chair in my bedroom over just being in my bed would be if it was big and cozy enough to rival my bed. But that hasn't panned out. I just don't use it, so I'm gonna get rid of this. It's taking up way too much space for not really having any function for me. That was a little dicey. Okay, chair's gone. So much more space. With the chair gone, I continued clearing out the rest of the smaller stuff. I didn't have that much stuff to deal with here because I had decluttered pretty recently in this room, and I could just focus on clearing out the things that I didn't think I was going to use in the makeover, and then I just piled up all of the rest of the small stuff that I thought that I might use. Okay, here's how it looks now. I just left the main like furniture pieces that I might want to work with. So I got the dresser, that side table, the mirror, and this shelf. Then everything else is empty. And then here I just collected all of the like decor items that I might repurpose. Before I start rearranging, I'm gonna go walk around my house and like shop my house a little bit to see if there's anything that I would want to repurpose into that room. Here's a little side chair. I do use that in here, so I don't really want to move it. I could potentially take like one of these chairs from my dining room table. Also plants. I think it'd be nice to move a plant up into my bedroom. I have a cluster of plants here that are maybes, or maybe this tree. Okay, in the basement I have this huge dresser, which is maybe a little overkill. I have this piano bench. Maybe I could use that as a little place to sit and put shoes on or something outside my closet. This rocking chair, which I love and is really comfortable actually, but it's in need of repair. And also I just don't see myself like sitting and rocking in a rocking chair in my bedroom. This is a nice chest. Like, I think it's a cedar chest maybe, but it's actually not mine. But maybe I'll use it temporarily while it's being stored here. I have a lot of stuff in here that's like unframed that I'll probably want to work with. Chair. Lamp. So now I have everything in here, like all of the big pieces that I have to work with, and I'm gonna just spend some time like moving things around and seeing what feels right and getting the main layout down. I like to start with the biggest pieces because I obviously have the most restriction as far as where they're gonna fit. So for me, that was the dresser, and I tried it in both the other spots that it would technically fit in here. I felt that it looked too cramped next to the closet door, and then when I tried it between the windows, I didn't really like how it had to sit out from the wall so much because of my baseboard heat. So I ended up just putting it back in its original spot. But once I had that decided, I could start to play around with the other main pieces of furniture to see just like what felt right and what looked balanced, and also what just wasn't gonna work in this room and had to be moved somewhere else. I moved the shelf out of the room because I realized I just don't have that much stuff I want to display in here. And then I started trying things out in this corner. I felt like this was a weird place for an accent chair. Like, I could make it look nice, but I would never use it. And I honestly found it kind of creepy to have just like a single chair in the corner facing my bed. So that was out. And then the mirror could work here, but it's really low light in this corner and I want to be able to see myself in the mirror, right? Like, that's the whole point of mirrors. So that was also a no. Now I was starting to narrow it down. I settled on the mirror between the windows here because I'd have a nice amount of natural light there. And it also worked well because the bottom already has to sit out far from the wall. So it wasn't an issue at all with the baseboard heat. Okay, so this is the general layout that I landed on. I'm gonna have some sort of little seating here outside the closet door with either art or maybe a hook or two to hang some stuff outside the closet. I have the dresser where it was before, and I think I'm gonna hang this mirror above it. I've got the floor length mirror here in between these two windows. I don't know about the plant placement, but the mirror is gonna stay here. And then on this side, I have this cedar chest, and my plan is to just make this into a little vignette here. I can put extra blankets or whatever inside the cedar chest. It's too dark to put a chair, it's too dark to put a plant, so I'm gonna just make this look cute with this chest and probably some art hanging above it. So now on to the next phase, which is just kind of decor. All right, first things first is to get some window treatments up on here. So this window is a bit funky because the wall butts up right against it, which means I can't hang curtains as wide as I'd like to. And I didn't get curtains to match the other two windows in this room because in my grand plan, this window would be inside my new dressing room. So I had to get creative with this one. Now I'm gonna go steal some curtains from somewhere else in my house. So in here I have 4 panels 2 on each side. And same with this side. I do close this side a lot because I have a neighbor on that side, but this side I don't have a neighbor and I usually leave these open. So I think I might just take 2 of these for the time being so I can hang something up there, and that'll still leave the 2 like outside panels. I think it'll be fine. These are the sacrifices I have to make since I want to spend $0. So when I was just moving the brackets before, I moved them up to the same height as the other curtain rods in this room and as far out as I could go while still being even on both sides. But that wasn't very far because the wall only let me go out about 1 inch on the left side. And while I like how the curtains looked, it was really bugging me that the width was just so noticeably different than the other windows in here. So I decided to try some trickery and kind of fake the position of the window using the curtains. So I moved the right bracket out more, and then I just positioned the curtains evenly on both sides so it makes it look like the window's more to the right and bigger than it actually is. This is before and after. Okay, it's already feeling so much better in this corner. It just feels like part of the room now with these curtains hanging. I need to decide if I'm going to do the bench or the chair. This bench is pretty ugly, in my opinion. It's like a vinyl top. It's kind of dirty. I don't know. I could just like put a blanket over it. That's the easiest solution. Kind of like how the bench fills this length of wall nicely. Or I could go with a chair, like a chair and maybe chair plant situation. I think that looks weird. It looks weird with that plant. Maybe it would look okay just with the chair. I think the chair or the bench could look nice here, honestly. So I decided to use the bench because I already use this chair downstairs. It's part of a pair, and the bench was just forgotten and dusty in my basement, so I wanted to put it to use. I got this when I bought my piano. It came with my piano, but I've never used it because I have a bench already. I don't have much to work with in the way of fabric. Like all my scrap fabrics are like clothes. I have these old curtains that I already chopped because I made a pillow out of them. So I have another panel of that. It's not like a huge amount of color, but it is the right size. And it's an improvement from this like tan vinyl. So I think I might just try and do this. This is a piano bench, so I'm hoping I can just kind of like fold this in here nicely and it'll be the easiest reupholstery job of all time. Bam! Yes. That actually looks great. Wow. This tree is wonky as heck. It's propped up with a bunch of sticks and it's still nearly tipping over, so I decided to prune it, which I think is going to be good for the plant. It looks better, and now you can actually sit on the bench next to it. We're getting there, we're getting there. I have this little guy that I grabbed from downstairs, and I'm going to hang it here. Just add a little extra element. Bada bing, bada boom. Cute. Okay, that's looking cute. Next, I moved on to this dresser area. I wanted to hang this mirror up, but it had no wire on the back and it was really heavy. So I snooped around in my garage till I found this spool of wire that seemed strong enough. And I attached it in this kind of funky way. I'm pretty sure this mirror used to be one of those vanity mirrors because it has these holes with the hardware on the sides. So what I did was I threaded it through one side and then out the other and sort of like wrapped the ends around each other. And I think this worked out well since I didn't have any of the correct hardware or wires to work with, but it still felt really strong. Yeah, baby, that looks good. This corner is very dark, as I'm sure you can see. It's starting to get late in the day now, and it would be nice to have some sort of lighting over here, but I don't think I have really the right options. I don't know. If I can find a way to bring light in, that would be great, but at least I want to hang some art. So I just played around with this and hung things, took them down, rearranged, tried different things out to see what I liked. Okay, it's the next day and I'm doing some tweaking. So I've got like the bones of what I want going on, but it's not quite where I want it to be. It doesn't feel quite finished yet. I oftentimes like to just kind of let it soak in, you know. It's hard for me to do like an entire makeover one day and then just be happy with it. I usually like to come back to it, see how it looks when I like come around a corner and I'm like, ooh, yeah, that looks good. Or like, no, that kind of like feels off. And so today I've just noticed that as I've come in and out of this room, like what feels right, what feels a little off. And that's kind of what I'm tinkering with now. So let me show you. I like what's going on here, but something feels unfinished to me. So I've been thinking about it. I think I might want to try to swap this little guy out with something bigger to kind of like I like when things are like, there's like layers going on, you know? Rather than just like boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3 things. I don't have a lot in the way of like bigger art that's framed. But I like having like this, I like that this little guy has a pop of color in it. It's got some red. I have this painting without a frame and I'm thinking about putting this up. Sometimes I'll do a little like cheat illusion situation where if I don't have an actual frame for something, I'll just like hang both things on the wall. The frame kind of makes it look matted even though it's not. And like, it's not fooling anybody. If you look at it, it's obviously just hanging, but in terms of visually framing the art, it still works. I don't know. I'm gonna try it and see if it adds something that I feel is missing. Bam. I mean, I think it looks kind of cool. It's creative, right? We're talking about art. I'm not totally stoked about this yellow pot. I do like the yellow pot, but I feel like it's not quite the right yellow for this corner, but I'm working with what I got. I could like wrap it in cloth. I wish it was in a terracotta pot. I think that would look nice, but it's not. I'm gonna leave it. See if the yellow grows on me. Okay, now moving on to this side of the room. Okay, this is like what you see when you walk in, like turn the corner, bam. Just feels, something feels off to me. And I think it's because it's really visually bottom heavy on both walls. With the trunk and that big plant right next to it, it's like they're almost competing against each other with these heavy bottoms and then similar max height. And the small art above does help to pull your eye up a bit, but it's not substantial enough to really balance it out. So when I start moving things around here, that's what's on my mind. I decided to move the plant out of there and pull in this lamp from my office. I think this works well here because it's chunky and tall enough to bring the visual weight of this trunk up. And bonus, it's going to light up the corner nicely too. And then on the other wall, I'm sticking with just some simple art hung at a different height than the lamp to give some variation and differentiate these walls. Here I'm going to put a couple like big coffee table books that I may look at like in bed. But that are too big to put on my bedside table. And this Life magazine book, that's like a history of the earth. It's just fun to look through. Again, picture book. I have these paper flowers that my brother gave me years ago that I've obviously kept because they're beautiful. Cute. I like the color. This is what I see when I'm sitting in my bed. That actually looks pretty nice and balanced to me now, but I'm thinking about hanging something like right in this zone. Before the painting was up here, but I kind of like having it like underneath the light so it gets lit up, and also so when I'm crouching down to get these books, I get to enjoy it. I like that little painting, or that photograph, I guess, more than this painting there because it has like more of a distinct silhouette to it. So it's something to look at from far away too, even if you don't know quite what it is. It's visually interesting from far away and close. So I like that. And moving on to this last corner here now. It is kind of nice to have a lamp on this dresser. Gets a little dark in this corner. I hate that lamp. You know what, I think I might use this lamp, put it over here, and then do like something to make the shade more interesting. It's got like stains all over it. Ew. I have these they used to be pajama pants. This could work. It's like a nice thin fabric. Then I have this, this fabric, which I already used on the bench. I feel like that would look nice, right? That would look nice. So I'd never done this before, but I just sort of made it up as I went along, and it ended up being pretty straightforward. I just needed some sharp scissors and a hot glue gun to get this done. I originally wanted to have the stripes running vertical, but the fabric wasn't long enough in that direction, so I turned it horizontally. And this ended up working out really well, actually, because I could use the stripe as a guide to line the edge of the lampshade up with, as well as trim the extra fabric off at the end. So I just ran a bead of hot glue along the inside edge of the lampshade a little bit at a time and pressed the fabric into it as I went, making sure that it was laying flat and straight. And once I had it all glued down, I trimmed the extra fabric off the top and the bottom, and then glued that final edge down to finish it off. That's very hot. Ow. Yeah, baby. That is a cute ass lampshade. Only sustained one injury. Not bad. Okay. Every once in a while, a DIY ends up being easier than I expect. Does not happen often, but when it does, it's just the best. And this was one of those projects. Just such an easy and simple upgrade to this stained and sad lampshade. I mean, look at this glow. So good. Now that this lamp is here, I don't love this pink, bright pink thing. I might swap this out and put that back downstairs. Music box from my mom. Also, while digging through bins of like old clothes that need repair and stuff, I came across these pillowcases that are funky and cool. I think they could be pulled out for some like extra funk to be added somewhere in here. All right, I want to just share with you how redoing one room can affect the other rooms. All right, I clear this room out to make it look good, and I steal stuff from other areas of the house, but now there's like fallout mini projects that have to happen to like put the rest of the house back together. This is what things are looking like. So in the bedroom, I have all this stuff I need to like organize and put away. Not terrible. I moved this shelf out of my bedroom. It's pretty large, and now it doesn't have a home. More art that I need to figure out where to put. Down here I have this chair, which I need to get rid of. Try and sell it on Facebook Marketplace or just have someone pick it up. And yeah, those are, I guess, the main things. And then over here is just, I already talked about the curtains, but those look fine, but I'm missing 2 curtains on there, so I can't really like close those all the way if I wanted to. So yeah, I don't know. It's not like only what you see in the makeover room that's going on, I guess. So just wanted to share.